Like let's talk about what are things that parents in the market for a stroller should be looking at, thinking about in a stroller. And we'll get into car seats as a whole other topic, and we'll get into the science behind car seats, crash testing. We'll get into maybe the history of car seats, how they've evolved. I want to get into all that stuff.
Yeah.
But let's start with the stroller itself, since we're already talking strollers. Stroller tipping is a big thing. I was just in Disney World, and we're pushing a Nuna stroller, which I have all kinds of confidence in because I've never had any issues with it.
Right.
And I've got my backpack hanging from the handle and all these things, and no concerns. Meanwhile, you've got stroller parking lots at Disney World with 400 million strollers in them, and I see kids getting in and out of them, and they're flipping over backwards because there's something hanging from the handles. I saw one or two flip over with kids inside of it. And they're smacking their heads, and parents are freaking out, and I'm like on standby, like ready to go save some little kid because that's my nature. I'm like, is everything okay? Like, I'm gonna go help this kid, but like, I couldn't believe what I was seeing in some of these strollers.
That's the hardest part too. The consumer misuse of a product is always the number one factor that has to be brought into play when you're building something. As to, I'm actually not protecting the consumer on behalf of my product. I'm protecting my product on behalf of the consumer because the probability is they're going to use it the wrong way.
Right.
And so,
so you have to factor that into the design.
You have to build it that way.
So if you use it perfectly, this will be fine.
Yeah. So like the stroller you're talking about that you own, that you had at Disney, that Demi-Gros, I think it's fair to say from an engineering standpoint that the center of gravity built into that stroller is probably the most foundationally solid stroller in the world, being that you can put a lot of weight, a lot of things in the basket, a couple of kids, and it doesn't push differently just because you've added all of that weight. There's other double strollers in the market that it's almost like, how when you're like in a canoe, right? And I'm going to turn the canoe around.
Yeah.
It takes that kind of,
pushing
steerability, which takes toll on mom's body. If she just had a C-section, she's tired. The back's taking the brunt of all this stuff, an additional kid that she's picking up all the time. That takes a toll after a while of steering a big stroller that actually doesn't have a good solid center of gravity. So all of that has to be factored.
Center of gravity is really what it's all about.
Yeah. Yeah. For the hip hop guys, we call it COG.
You know what COG? Yeah, you know me.
So that's your next meme, right?
That's right.
You down with COG?
My wife is like a rapper, by the way. We're gonna make some rap videos soon. She comes up with the most ridiculous rap rhymes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Wait, we're making some rap videos.
Do some 100%.
Yeah. It's hilarious.
But that is the tipping element is always of concern because you have to factor on that. There's a really high probability that women will go out and they'll seek out a bag that they really, really like. And that bag's going on that handle. Mm-hmm. It's going to go on the back of that stroller. And ladies, we know you like your basket space. And so I've seen more shoppers, at Whole Foods or whatever, that the stroller basket is their grocery cart, right?
Yeah.
And so when you have that kind of approach to the way a stroller actually maneuvers or how it's maintained, and a lot of weight ends up on the back in an amusement park situation because I got to put all the kids, get them moved around and the stuff. I'm probably going to drape something with a lot of weight on the back, and the tippability of that at that point it's a little bit of a danger. Mm-hmm. You can offset the brake component, in the event that you do it on the wrong hill, then all of a sudden a kid's flying down a hill, unsupervised. There's a lot of
unsupervised.
Right. That's the kind way to put it, right?
See
ya.
Hope you buckle the seatbelt. Well, there was another thing that you brought up yesterday was like the approach sort of situation and just like the geometry. I'm assuming it's the geometry of the front wheels or how that works, and like trying to push it up a curb.
That's right.
In a parking lot into a shopping center or whatever. Yeah. What's all of that? As sort of the same concept of center of gravity, or is that more geometry?
Totally is. Yeah, because back to the COG, if we're going to dwell on that a little bit. Center of gravity plays a huge factor in the smooth and steerability of the stroller. And as you add any kind of weight component to that, whether it has the ability to entertain 2 children, or if it's just the one, or the basket placement obviously is, I got stuff spilling out. As I add weight, how is the suspension actually taking on that weight, and is it centering it to the center so that I don't feel like I'm having to really
push,
put a lot into it?
That's like when you get to the grocery store with a shopping cart and you've got that thing loaded up and you add like a bag of dog food or a case of water, and suddenly that thing's really hard to maneuver.
Yeah.
Right?
That's exactly right. Yeah. Or you put all those, green bean cans or whatever, and it's on the edge of the cart
at the front, and suddenly you can't turn that thing. It's
Same explanation of physics applies there. As put the kid
These are
out
things
there.
that no one considers when they're buying a stroller.
They don't.
That, right? So that's why I wanted to get into it, because now it's like when most people go to buy a stroller, the first thing they do is grab the handle. Right? They touch the handle and they maybe give it a little push back and forth, and they decide with 0 weight in it in a department store somewhere that this is a good stroller because it feels good and it rolls nice.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe they're testing a fold situation, or they want to know how heavy it is. Maybe. That's the extent of it. I put 0 thought into my first stroller. It was my wife that said, "This one's purple. I like it." We couldn't even afford it. We had to put it on our baby register and get her aunt and uncle to buy it for us, which thank God, God bless them. We were so broke. We couldn't do that. So there was no thought. It was a jogger with inflatable tires. They were always flat. And every time we had to use it, I was putting air in it, or replacing a tube or whatever. It was a nightmare.
Yeah.
I really was not a fan of that. I don't know if you guys do any inflatable tire stuff, but like.
No, we stay away from that because of exact reason what you just said. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to produce a product that has to be an additional layer of maintenance. That the probability is pretty high that an aired up tire is going to be faulty at some point, depending on how much
which reduces
you use
the customer experience and the whole 9 yards, right?
That's right.
But yeah, I put no thought into it, and I should have. Actually, I'm trying to think now if that would maybe. Anyways, we ended up with that purple stroller, and then we had a double wide stroller, which was good because we had 2 kids, but it was a double wide.
Yeah, so hard to get through doors.
Exactly. My next, you took the words right out of my mouth. Where it was like things to consider as you're shopping for a stroller, right? It's just how what does it fold? What's the center of gravity like? If there's weight in it, will it go up the curb or is it gonna hit the front wheels and then stop, and then you're trying to pull back on it to get the front wheels to go up the thing and all that kind of stuff. Something to consider. Testing it, if you have the opportunity to test it in a store, or you have a friend that has one, to maybe give theirs a little test, walk it down the sidewalk, down the street, whatever. I think that's probably a good thing to do.
Right? Yeah, and I would say the rule of thumb, to be honest, Beav, is like, if you start out with a mentality of how you're going to approach this world, it's a brand new world. I mean, I'm not playing it down, because it's hard for a lot of people as they get into the first parent realm to grasp the fact that, okay, there's a lot of investment that's required, and what path do I want to go down in relation to the spend that's related to this one, and do I think that having a conversation about how many children we want, or my uncertainty of that subject should factor in. So I always tell when I'll a lot of times I love, just for the sake of my own benefit, I'll go into department stores. I go where my brand is being sold, and I just I'll stand and watch.
Right.
And I'm a nerd like that. So I will watch the interaction of what's happening and really listen to the questions that are being asked. And it's unbelievable how many people are making $1,000 purchases based on only one thing. And it's based on the fact that it's just a product that their girlfriend has. And so, but
it was a recommendation, probably, right? A referral. Like their friend has it, their friend loves it.
Yeah.
I trust my friend and their opinions, so I'm going to buy it too.
That's right. Yeah.
Without factoring in
their own lifestyle.
Life.
Yeah. Their own lifestyle, whether it actually makes any sense. The fact that they're buying, this will entertain 2 2 children. And I'm thinking, so are you having twins? A lot of times I like to get into those conversations just to make people think a little bit. So are you having twins? No, this is just our first. And then you're like, so you're already planning for the second? Oh, no. I want to have the first. And I'm like, why are you buying for 2 then?
Right.
So thinking down the path of as you buy, well, it can entertain 2. Do you think maybe by the time you have the next child, which you have no idea how you're going to think about that and how long you want to wait for that, you might want a different stroller then? Mm-hmm. So it's
most people don't hang on to a lot of baby products for that long. I mean, I think they have the intention of doing, like,
they do.
That's how they justify the purchase,
right?
We're going to use this later.
Yeah. Doesn't happen.
If they're spending more than they think they should, or they need to justify it to their husband or wife or whatever it is, like, oh, well, we can use it when we have more kids or whatever. I have another question around that too. We'll get to in a few minutes, but that's all really good stuff that I think will bring some value to everyone listening, is like things to look for and look at when making these purchases that a lot of people just aren't thinking about. And the practicality, will it fit in your car when it's folded? Does it fit through the doorway? Is it easy to get in and out of X, Y, or Z? Are you going to have multiple kids? Like, what's your lifestyle? Does it fit your lifestyle and your needs?
Yeah, and we're not foolish enough as brands to believe that the social element doesn't come into play, right? As you buy things, if a woman wants a Gucci purse,
she's getting a Gucci purse.
She's getting one. They may have to remortgage the house.
That's right.
But she's getting her Gucci purse. So if she's getting her Gucci purse, she wants that for a very strong emotional reason. Doesn't always relate to quality. She just assumes that brand is tied to quality. But a lot of it is obviously a social element. 100%. I think we would all agree on that. And I think all you ladies out there too are watching, you would agree with that. What I would say is the social element of buying baby stuff is super strong. We've never seen the escalation of popularity of the way social media is today plays into just the social elements of life. It all translates over here as well. Mm-hmm. Because the first time you have a baby, it's the most emotional chapter of your life by far. A lot of fear and a lot of uncertainty, a lot of excitement,
a lot of learning,
a lot of hormones,
trial and error,
right?
Yeah.
And so I think what happens is, even as dads, I'm a dad of four boys, 20, 18, almost 16 and 14. And that's been a long time ago since we were in that chapter, but I still remember, there's an element of it of, here's what I want to push. Here's what I want to be seen pushing around. Mm-hmm. It's the difference of a BMW or a Toyota.
Sure.
Yeah. It's the same
thing.
Emotional component for sure.
100%. Cool.